Good evening and welcome to the July 5th, 2022 Board of Selectmen's meeting. On the agenda tonight, we will have a moment of silence, then public service announcements. We do have a public hearing at 6:35 for Concord Brewing Incorporated doing business as Rapscallion for a change or alteration of premises. Town Administrator's update, and we have a few action items for consideration and possible actions, including increasing the spending limit for the pay-as-you-throw revolving account from $20,000 to $30,000 for fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2023. An application for a special one-day liquor license for Bay State Brewing, Sean Rich for Cornhole Tournament, Cedar Lake Association event on July 30th, 2022, on the Town Common from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have another application for a special one-day liquor license from Greater Good Imperial Brewing Company for the same event. Their hours 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Action on the safety complex generator maintenance contract, fiscal year 2023 gasoline and diesel contacts, a reappointment of Mary Blanchard, Joan Chamberlain, Reed Hillman, and Sarah Willinger to the Personnel Committee for a term to expire 7/5/2025. Old business, new business, correspondence, citizens forum, and we do have a request for an executive session, then we will adjourn. Could we please have a moment of silence for those affected by COVID, the war in Ukraine, and all the senseless gun shootings? Okay, thank you. Okay, public service announcements. Jamie, do you have any?
None, no.
Mary?
No.
Jace?
No.
I did get something from Leslie at the Council on Aging, and it says the Senior Center has started accepting applications for the Veterans/Seniors Work-Off Program. Applications are accepted till December 20th or until all slots are full. The Veterans Work-Off is open to all residents in town with no age restriction. Requirements for the programs are on the town's website under the COA page. And she also wants the public to know that there are still COVID tests available for residents at the senior center. Okay, it's almost 6:35. 6:34, we'll breathe for a minute.
I'll kill a minute for you.
Oh, okay.
We have, as well as at the senior center, the COVID tests. We also have them at the library for anybody who wants them.
Oh, they have them again? 'Cause I
Yep,
had
we
gone
got
and
them
they didn't
again.
have any.
No, we got them again.
Good.
They came in today, I believe, or Friday.
Yeah, Leslie said there were 500 at
Yep,
the
we
senior
sent
center.
500 over to the senior center, about the same over to the library, a few more over to the library. We will also have some in the clerk's office. They'll have, Michelle will end up having a few in her office as well.
Okay,
So
thank you.
They are available.
Okay. 6:35, Mary, do you have the,
You have 6:34. Are we still breathing? 6:34.
yeah, breathe slowly.
Here you go.
Here we go. Public hearing notification is hereby given that an application has been filed by Concord Brewery doing business as Rapscallion for change or alteration of premises, information at the premises currently located at 484 Main Street, Sturbridge, Arnold Road. With the Sturbridge Board of Selectmen, in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, a public hearing will be held on Tuesday, July 5, 2022, 6:35 p.m. This hearing will be held at Veterans Memorial Hall, Sturbridge Town Hall, Sturbridge, Mass.
Okay, and there is no one here for it. Michelle, on the public notice, after it gives Main Street, it says FKA 3 Arnold Road.
It used to be Arnold Road for a while, but the assessor's office said that was never really ever an address.
Yeah.
Because the other licenses said Arnold Road, I figured it would be better to put.
Both. Yeah, no, I didn't know, but what do the initials FKA stand for?
Formerly known
Oh,
as.
couldn't get formally. I was thinking also known as. Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion on this public hearing that we continue it. There's a lot of information, vital information that we're lacking, number of seats. The proponent was supposed to go back to the planning board in January, and that fell through the crack. There's nothing listed anywhere how he intends on securing the outside dining, and that's one of the requirements. It needs a fire inspection and everything. So, depending on how the board feels, I would accept a motion to continue the public hearing.
What's your status presently? Because they're operating.
They have a license for the inside upstairs only.
Okay.
If they're operating and serving outside, they shouldn't be.
I don't know what
And-
they're doing.
Yeah, and we've gotten reports that they have, so they'll have to be reminded again. I know Michelle has spoken to them,
Okay.
and maybe a reminder by the police, but
Yeah.
they're only licensed for inside. Now, as far as what date to continue it to, they haven't applied to the planning board yet. So our next meeting is the 19th, so even if they get their stuff to planning board, I don't think planning board will be able to make a decision by then. So we're probably going into August 1st. Robin, how's that sound like a timeline? I mean, we can always
Yeah.
continue
I
it
would-
again.
Yeah, I think we put it for now, and if planning hasn't dealt with it.
Yeah, we can.
I hate to push it out too far, because if they're trying to serve outside,
Right. Or if planning gets to it, maybe we could push it up.
right.
Yeah, but
It's a
I
pretty
don't know.
popular spot.
I don't know when planning meets. Jean said she would have to, I think she said something about the 26th, but.
Okay, so
she
that would
does-
be their first
Yeah,
meeting,
but if she can get a full board there, I know that one of the gentlemen is in Florida
Oh, she may have a quorum
serving,
problem.
and she has to check with all the others to see if they'll be able to attend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be relatively simple if planning passes it. When it comes here, it shouldn't be too challenging, I don't think. And so if that happens, and we can get it through August 1st, then at least for August and September, and Labor Day weekend,
Yeah,
things like that.
I
they
mean,
can-
it's, through no fault of the planning board nor ours,
No,
you
no.
know, the
But
burden.
if we can for the business, get at
Oh,
least
yeah,
it's
I mean, the
outdoors.
burden's strictly on him.
Yep.
So, do we have a motion then to continue it to August 1st at 6:35?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, next, request to increase the spending limit for the pay-as-you-throw revolving account, 20,000 to 30,000. Barbara, did you want to say anything on this, or? Well,
So as you know, each year, the revolving fund spending limits are set by town meeting. I included in your packets a copy of the special legislation. It was part of the municipal modernization, which allows the spending limit to be increased by a vote of the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee. In fiscal '22, we're a little over $28,000 in spending, and the limit was $20,000. So we do need to change that one so that we fall within the cap for fiscal '22 closing. And given that we're at that level in '22 with what we're seeing in prices, I would expect that we're probably going to see the same issue in fiscal '23. So that's why I'm asking you to increase the spending limit from 20 to 30 for both '22 and '23. And then if you vote favorably, the Finance Committee will take up the same topic at their meeting on, I think it's next Tuesday.
okay, any questions for Barbara? Okay, somebody want to make a motion then?
Sure. I will move to increase the spending limit for the pay-as-you-throw revolving account from $20,000 to $30,000 for fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2023.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, you too. It's nice driving home when it's bright, huh? Okay, then we have an application for the special one-day liquor license for Bay State Brewery, Sean Rich, for the Cornhole Tournament, Cedar Lake Association. Any questions on that?
No.
No, as Ian was explaining before, that they normally have it at the host, but the host,
There's a conflict or
Yeah.
something that I can't do it this year, so they pushed it onto the common.
yeah. Okay, we've approved it before, though. The application, the chief did want 2 offices during the serving time, so if it's approved, that'll be a condition. Any questions? Okay, somebody want to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion to approve the application for a special one-day liquor license for Bay State Brewing Sean Rich for the tournament and the Cedar Lake Association event on July 30th, 2022 on the town common from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? Abstention?
Abstain.
2, you're abstaining. 3 yes, 2 abstention. Okay, next is the application from Greater Good for the same event, hours 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Likewise, the stipulation of 2 offices while serving. Someone want to make that motion?
Sure. I will move to approve the application for a special one-day liquor license for Greater Good Imperial Brewing Company, JT Ethier, for Cornhole Tournament, Cedar Lake Association event on July 30th, 2022 on the town common from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Those are different times in the...
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
So, the 4 p.m., excuse me.
yeah.
In regard to the time, I know I was associated with Bay State Brewing before. We tended to leave a little extra on either side because if you have run over on one side or the other, it just helps to be able to
Yeah.
control it.
Yeah, and it's well within the legal hours for licenses.
No, yeah, makes perfect
And
sense.
it's on the application, the stipulation already of the 2 offices. Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Abstentions? Okay. Next, we have Public Safety Complex Generator Maintenance Account. Robin, it looks pretty clear, cut and dry.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And this is per the recommendation of Robin and Facilities.
Right.
That works.
Okay, anyone have a question on it? Okay, somebody want to make a motion on it then?
I'll make a motion to accept the public safety complex generator maintenance contract
Okay, for
for $500 a year.
FM generator.
Yeah, from FM Generator. I need your help again this week, Mary.
Hey, I needed your help earlier. That's what we're here for. Is there a second?
I'll second. Beat ya.
Put down Chase Goodwin.
Tension's favorite.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Next, we have the gasoline and diesel contracts, which are a little more complicated this year due to the fuel situation.
Yes. So, in the past, we've gotten ours through CMPRC. Their pricing right now is very volatile. It's based on a base rate that goes with the market rate and the delivery charges. And when Robin brought it to me, I just thought it seemed like an extraordinarily volatile situation. If we thought we were going to see, we've had a trend down for a week, but we had that 3 weeks ago, and then it went back up. So we don't foresee anything dramatically dropping. And that volatility made me a bit nervous. So I asked Robin to go back out for bids on the whole thing. She went out for the oil and propane portion. We got no responses. Nobody wants to deliver to us because, again, the pricing's just not worth it. They'd have to charge so much at this point. So that we can go back out and hold. The gasoline is the more immediate. So I had Robin work with Heather. And we all agreed that going off the state number is better because we're not locked into anybody's agreement or contract. If it plummets and drops, we can look to lock in somewhere else if we have to, but the state bid would drop with it accordingly too. So, the state may have some lock-in, but we can always get out. So we're not bound. It's just as needed, we can use the state contract as I understand it. So Heather recommended that from her past experience. I think it's a safer way to go at this point. It just puts us in a holding pattern before we make any major decisions on fuel prices.
Right. Any questions from the board?
No.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion then?
Sure. I will move that the board, strike that. I will move that the DPW be allowed to opt into the ENE 47 and ENE 48 state gas and diesel rates for FY 2023 with Dennis K. Burke Incorporated for diesel and unleaded gas.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, next we have reappointment of personnel, Mary Blanchard, Joan Chamberlain, Reed Hillman, and Sarah Willinger to the Personnel Committee for a term to expire 7/5/2025. Any questions? Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mary Blanchard, Joanne Chamberlain, Reed Hillman, and Sarah Terwilliger to the Personnel Committee for a term to expire 7/5/25.
Is there a second?
Yeah, Ian seconded.
Yeah, second.
Oh,
Sorry.
he's quiet. Discussion? All in favor? Okay, now the other appointments, it's been an ongoing process, a lot of mix-ups and stuff, but I did tell Michelle that the appointments are all your appointments. The board either nays or yays.
Right, and so we're in the process now. One of the concerns I had is that reappointment has sort of been pro forma, which is nice, but it doesn't ever give anybody the opportunity to at least apply to get on a board or a commission. And typically, if you have people who want to stay on, I do believe in reappointing, but we are going to put out we're going to start a process. I wanted to get everything on a July 1st start date. We couldn't logistically do it because of the way the bylaws are written. Everything is a 3-year term. And if you want to go to a July 1st start date, you're going to have some people going to be 2 years and 6 months or 2 years. It would be a bylaw change. So the best way is to keep it on the rolling basis, but what we're going to do is Michelle will keep an eye, and basically, if something, for example, is going to expire on October 31st, on September 15th, we will put out a notice. These positions will be open, and it might be 3 seats or 4 seats or 2 seats. And anybody can put in for them, the person who'd like to reapply, but we should advertise them for the public as well so that it's not automatic. And again, if somebody expresses an interest and wants to stay on, we're not going to push them off. But it at least should be somewhat public that people have an opportunity.
We've been lax in that in the past, but it was always under the assumption that, people read the annual report, people are online, they know whose term's up.
But if we can't even keep track of it, I'm not sure that anybody else is.
Well, it got confusing, but that's why we, wanted to go to the July 1st, so things would be
Yeah, and
consistent. So even now, when we appoint someone midway through, it's until,
So the challenge, like I said, is that it doesn't give any latitude for that in the bylaw. We can look at a charter change or a bylaw change to do that, so that we can get them all on that schedule. But the other thing is that some of them, for example, are some are selected by the board. A few various ones have, like, one committee might have one selection from the selectmen, one selection from the town administrator, one selection from recreation. So if all 3 expire at the same time, so let's say the department's appointment, one of the private lake department's appointment, and my appointment all expire at the same time. The only one I'm going to put out for is the only one I'll put an advertisement on, but I might remind the other groups
Yeah.
that they have an open position, because I certainly can't tell them how to do theirs. And again, the spirit of my intention is to not reappoint, but I do think that we had people actually on one of them recently that just got all reappointed to say, hey, I'd love to get on this, how do I get on? And I was like, oh, we just did all the reappointments. And in some cases, they were appointments because, we knew people had been interested, so someone had been in contact with them, but it was never formally put out. And so in one of those cases with that particular board, there was a new appointment, and someone else might have been interested. So, again, I think reappointment would take priority. From my perspective, I'm likely going to put somebody up to you that's a reappointment who wants to stay committed to their work in the town. But I think for continuity and fairness, we at least have to put it out.
Yeah.
And what happens, sometimes people will say, well, I'd love to be on this board, and I might say, well, you know what, we're gonna end up reappointing who's here, but we have an opening on this board.
Yeah.
And I find that tends to, and in that case with that one person, we went back to him and we said, look, these are filled, we've already been in contact with people prior, but are you interested in something else? Oh, yeah, I'm interested in being a part of anything that, relates to X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So, that way sometimes we get names of people we don't even know who are out there who want to be part of it.
Yeah, we used to put it on every so often, what positions were open for people. And we don't get many of people.
I certainly agree that, especially when it's a new appointment, that we didn't advertise, and then it's just somebody, on a committee that recommended somebody, and then they get on that way. Not that they wouldn't be qualified, I don't even know who we're
No,
talking about. But especially in those instances, we should be opening it up to everybody. So it's not, if you're in a
It's not
certain
all the same
circle.
social circle. is it?
Right, that's how that happens.
My next
But I
door
am a
neighbor.
fan of people who have given years of service to not, to give them due deference. In other words, that's a big plus. Some people don't look at it that way, but I feel like if somebody's given, 10 years, they've developed some expertise, and I don't, you want to give that some deference, but I agree, I'm happy to advertise.
Well, usually the issue is finding bodies in the first place. It's
I'm not usually, okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
not.
I know.
We're happy if anybody wants
I
to.
will say the only time I'd be
Should be out.
likely
Yeah.
not to reappoint or recommend reappointment would be if somebody doesn't come to meetings.
Right.
And then says, oh, I still want to be on, but gee, you attended, 4 out of 12 meetings, and we never had a quorum because you didn't show up, or we struggled to get a quorum, then I might say, you know what, I may go a different direction. But unless they had, obviously, if they're ill or something like that, there's obviously going to be latitude. That would be probably one of the only times that I might not, and that's where I think advertising it at least becomes important. And it reminds people, even the reappointments, look, if you want to be on, you do need to be committed, you need to resubmit your resume or your application, and all it takes is, I had somebody come by today with a handwritten note for me, and a very lovely lady said, I just so you know, I want to be on unless you don't want me anymore. I'm like, no, I still want you, thank you.
Yep,
So
agree.
I just like the latitude of not necessarily reappointing if there's a problem, and typically it's attendance.
Right.
But then if we don't, we've been very public about who might be interested.
True. Now, what about the reappointments to police, fire, and not committees?
The actual employee reappointments?
Yeah.
Yep, so those have been based on hire date, I believe, is how they've been done. And again, because it says 3-year terms on those, we have to stick with the hire date, except for the few people who are lifetime.
Now, I know that I had a conversation with the town clerk's office, and they were questioning, and I kind of agreed that the question was raised, and I think they were going to discuss it with you, why are we making reappointments
Yeah.
to members who are part of the collective bargaining agreement? They're governed by the CBA anyway.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know, and you looked in the charter, and that's not required, and I don't know how we stand on that.
So we did find, Lynn and I talked about this, like, why are we reappointing people that are protected by a personnel handbook or a labor contract? Even if they're people who are not necessarily in the labor unions, they're hired, they're under a personnel agreement that talks about removal and discipline. Arbitrarily, I can't just say, you know what, I don't think I want to renew you now. So the charter, where did we find that? In a bylaw? Who was reappointed every 3 years? I think it was in the bylaws. there was something in the bylaws that says these positions are reappointed
Okay,
every
we
3
found
years.
a bylaw
So it is
already.
in the bylaw, we did find it.
Okay.
But again, it may be a bylaw that we need to look at, because effectively, we would have legal consequences for not reappointing somebody if we don't follow the personnel manual or the labor contract, depending on if they're non-union or union. And it allows for a lot of, I mean, yeah, it's great, I might say, 3 years, you know what? This isn't the best employee, I think I could bring in somebody better. But on the flip side, that doesn't create a confident workforce either. And with turnover in a town administrator's office, which I'm hoping we don't have anymore, but that makes people very nervous. And we had people, you know, who are now up for their 3-year who were very concerned, and I'm like, well, don't be worried about it. I'm not going to arbitrarily just, like, you're out of here. But it doesn't create a comfortable work environment. Basically, any at-will employee still is going to be subject to having to follow rules, having to perform, and if they don't, there'd be, you know, progressive discipline or write-ups or anything else like anybody in the private sector would get, non-union. But I agree, it may be something that we need to look at in the bylaw. It just seems, if you have a police officer who's under a labor agreement, and we decide in 3 years, you know, we don't want to renew this guy, we're going to end up in a major arbitration.
Yeah, but I would assume
Not going
there,
to win.
I would assume there would be good reason why.
You would
Yeah,
think.
you would think.
But
But we
again,
should-
does that put
we-
people in a very funny
Yeah.
spot?
So, we should look at it a little clearer.
I think this is something we might need to look, maybe I'll work on, if the board would like, I can work on redrafting something in that bylaw, or looking to redraft that bylaw.
Because we don't reappoint admin positions, for example, Lynn and I were discussing, right? They're not in the bylaw.
No, I think, well,
Like, we don't reappoint Michelle every 3 years, that position.
no.
No.
But
So they
you
were-
reappoint the building inspector, for example.
Yeah, well, the building inspector assistant?
No,
Yeah,
no.
Oh, no, I
yeah.
know the building
Right,
inspector,
the
that's
director.
different, that's a
Yeah, it's
department
not-
head.
yeah, so
But they were,
The executive,
Yeah, so
Only
the executive
assistants.
level, but not the clerical level staff.
the clerical level
Right,
is
so
what
the
I was
clerical
trying to.
level is not, but police and fire are. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the irony is that the people who are not in a labor union don't go through the reappointment, but people who are in labor unions do, and we have less latitude to do it to the people who are in labor unions. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
But I think it's a holdover from the civil service
Yeah.
days.
That's-
Like, so we probably were never civil service, but we probably got a
yeah, we
draft.
never had.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
got the draft, whatever, from
Yeah.
civil service, and they all require.
Yeah, I mean, there's never,
That's
ever been,
likely what it
Yeah.
is.
yeah, there's never, ever been any pushback on.
So, I mean, it's a question of, is it, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, do we just let it keep going, or do
Well,
we
no, we
clean up
need
the
to straighten it
bylaw
out
to match
because
what
we need
do?
to know when to reappoint.
Yeah. and
Or
So
do
it
we
needs-
just make a move to remove that automatic 3-year reappointment and just they're, you know, at will or under a labor contract?
Yeah, but.
I mean, I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it myself right now. I
No.
think over time,
Yeah.
something put on the,
Yeah.
I gotta fix this when we're fixing this type of thing.
I just know it came up in the town clerk's office, because it generates, I guess, a lot of work for the town clerk's office and Michelle, and
Sure.
Keeping
they just
track of
questioned to me why we do it. I go, well, you know, if you're protected by a collective bargaining agreement, you know, they've got just cause, we can't just not reappoint. It's not, just doesn't happen that way. But I didn't, at the time, we looked at the charter and didn't see anything.
No, we found it in the
But then
bylaw
you- it is-
eventually,
There is a
yeah.
bylaw,
Yep.
and Jamie's probably right, it's the civil service.
It is probably a holdover.
state,
Yeah, just modeling, we never had civil
process.
service.
But it does create a little challenge, in a particular case, a prior town manager hadn't reappointed and somebody's been sort of in limbo for a couple of years. And so now I'll do that reappointment, but that reappointment's technically only 1 year because it's 2 years into the 3-year term, and you can only reappoint for the remainder of the term. So that person has to go through an appointment now and a reappointment in a year, because for 2 years, it has to be on the 3-year cycle, it was just sort of left, and you can only appoint to fulfill the remainder of the term.
See, I would assert in that case, by our actions, we did de facto reappoint whoever that individual is.
By keeping him here.
Correct.
Right, so I mean, but it just creates a weird complication.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
we'll straighten it out someday.
Yeah.
So this, we got, it's very informative. It was just for our information, right?
Yes,
Great. And did it come from the town clerk, or where'd it come from?
I believe this came from the clerk.
This looks to be from the Elections Division of the
Yeah.
Commonwealth
Yeah.
of Massachusetts.
But I think it came through for the voter
Yeah,
act.
I think so.
This, the voter act. It should have been with Robinson.
I would assume.
Oh, it came from Robinson?
Yeah. Why would Robin be getting it?
I don't know.
I'll find out unless it had to do.
Oh, I mean,
I wonder if it
it's,
was on the copier at the same time as the stuff.
Maybe the Commonwealth, because it was connected to the bid procedures, and maybe the
That's
Commonwealth.
possible. That's possible. Because I assume the clerk would put it in there because it was about voting, so.
yeah, it's,
No, I printed it.
and which may change depending on the court
Well, that
case.
may all change on any given day.
It's the Compliance Division sent it to Robin, and they added it to it.
There you go.
Okay, old business. Ian?
I have none.
Chase,
Youth football. So,
are you playing?
He's going out this year.
Living the
You really
glory
clean up,
days.
Jay.
That's right. So, quick update, all sides are working good together, but youth football was told that the selectmen made a motion to not use Turner's Field. I personally do not remember making that
I
motion.
don't remember that either.
And it's 2022, in 2020, all athletics were canceled, the fields had a chance to regrow 2 years ago. I would like to make a motion to allow youth football to use Turner's Field for their fall league.
Sounds reasonable, but I mean, where did whoever get the idea that we made that motion?
Was it recreation? I mean,
Recreation told youth football that the selectmen made the motion that,
was it based on recreation's
I don't remember.
recommendation?
I don't
have
remember
this
that.
vague, I mean, I think let the kids play, but I had this
Yeah.
vague memory of, did anybody assert that they damaged the field and it's intended to be a baseball field? And if they're not going to leave it in the condition that it needs to be, because that's where Legion, that's the Legion Field, that's for the older kids. I'm out of that realm now, so it's not Little League, but it's the next one up that uses Turner's, and it's a baseball field. So if they're not, if they're going to dig up the infield and all that,
I know when we used it for lacrosse, there was a big emphasis on staying off of the diamond itself.
diamond, yeah,
And
yeah,
that we
I know.
use the outfield
Yeah.
and try to stay off the dirt because a lacrosse
Yeah,
cleat and a
that's-
baseball cleat and the way it digs things
Yeah.
up.
I mean,
Why don't you tack on to your motion,
stay away from the infield.
to fix any,
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but I was gonna say, the rec committee really should give input on using
Yeah.
the fields, so
Yep.
why don't you tack that part on?
yeah, with the, with
Approval.
approval of the rec committee.
And to the extent they can, not, damaging the infield, not playing, I mean, that's a huge field, they don't need the
Well, no,
infield,
no,
do they?
they've been told they'll be back next year. It's just a year to let the
Oh,
outfield
no, I
grow,
know, but
so-
if they can
Yeah.
stay away from the
Yeah,
infield,
yep, yeah,
will
and-
you tag that onto
yeah, I'll
your?
check
Because
that on.
this is
stay
just
away
for
from
summer practice, basically. This is
And,
just
and their fall.
in the
Oh,
full
their
practice,
fall.
but
Yeah.
it's not for it's not for playing, it's for practice.
Correct.
No, but
yeah.
they'll scrimmage, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, they'll do some scrimmage, but.
Yeah,
I mean, I would think.
I don't know the details of it, but yeah,
I mean,
to
they
stay
come-
off the infield and to,
Yeah.
with the advisory of the rec board.
Okay, somebody wanna second that?
Second it.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, now, do you wanna get in touch with the rec, or do you want Robin to?
If Robin could, that would be.
Robin?
Yeah, do you mind? Sure.
So we have their recommendation.
Robin, I don't want to see anybody on that mound.
You don't want anybody showing up.
I'm a huge football fan. I like baseball, but I'm a huge football fan, so
Anything else under old,
still
Chase?
protect them out.
Nothing on their own, thank you.
Mary?
I just wanted to revisit as an agenda item at some point. I know I raised it before we had a discussion, we didn't do anything about it, and I've spoken with Ann about us reconsidering the maximum amount that qualified seniors can work off. It's been at $500 for, I don't know, as long as I can remember. And with how taxes have gone up so much, I had suggested maybe going up to $750. And I know we talked about it, and I forgot how it came out, that we didn't want them to have to work more. But I spoke with Ann, and she said that's totally our discretion as to what kind of ceiling we want to set. And she said years ago, because they get paid the equivalent of minimum wage. And she said, well, they don't get paid, but they work it off at the equivalent of a minimum wage. And she said when she got on board, as the assessor, minimum wage was quite a bit less, and they had to work a lot of hours just to get to the 500. So she thought there would be a desire for people to put in, now, they don't have to put in more hours, I just want them to be able to go up to the, say, 750 or 700, or, I don't think it's a lot of people.
No, the maximum right now is 750.
Oh, we're at 750?
If,
Didn't know that.
well, it's not, it's 500, but if all the slots aren't filled, people can apply for more time, up to the 750.
Oh,
But-
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was, so, we didn't change it, how did?
Yes.
Oh, we did? So that, maybe that was the fruit of my discussion? I remember that.
Oh, this is
Is
quite a
that per
while.
address or per senior? So for instance, 2 seniors, 1 home, they can both do the maximum?
Well, the tax
I think it's per tax
bill.
bill, but I don't know
Yep.
the answer to that.
And we've in the past had a few people do it for an elderly who wasn't capable of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is,
I don't know, I
Going back-
raised it with our former town manager, and it didn't get anywhere, if I remember.
yeah, but I think it was
correctly.
before Jeff even came on board that we changed it.
There was a concern about, was there enough work and all of this, so.
I don't think we fill all the spots, because I was concerned when Leslie said, oh, do you want me to just, send the letters out? And I said, well, I just would like to be sure that if, we have more people, that how are we picking? And she said, oh, it's first come, first served, but it's not really an issue. So I get the feeling there are usually extra slots, so maybe that was the genesis of letting people work more. I'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I would like, I guess
The
I,
numbers, because it's tough times for everybody.
I would, if it's not that
Yeah.
way,
Yep.
I would like the minimum to even, I mean, I personally would raise
The whole
it to
minimum.
750 and not have 500 unless we don't fill slots, then you can apply for more. I would just
Yeah. Well, we
suggest
should
that it
get
go to
all
750.
I'll find out.
Find out what it is, and
Yeah, let's find
At
out.
present minimum wage, it's about 35 hours a week too, so it probably was 2 weeks previously, so that's about a week work at present.
Yeah, let me
It's
look
much
into
higher
see what the actual thing is now and
Right,
look at
right.
what,
And.
I mean, it's really a $250 increase for the 30 people that might take advantage
it's
of
a nothing
it.
for us, but it's a lot for
In the
them.
scheme of the budget is not something we should be able to withstand that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Makes sense to me.
I forget how many people are in the program right now. And, it has to go back to work that's needed.
Yes.
Yep. Not,
No, it's legitimate, it has to be
Yeah.
legitimate work.
Yeah.
But right now, I think she sent me an email, she had, 20 seniors and 4 veterans, and still had slots, so, it's not a huge.
yeah, no, so
Okay.
we should get all the pertinent information, because I don't think anyone disagrees with that. Any other old, Mary?
No.
The only old I have, Michelle, have we gotten any more people volunteering for the cable committee?
No, just, I think it was 2 we had. It was Alan, and I have the file in my office, but no
Well,
one
I can
else.
put some, I haven't put anything out on Facebook, we can try to hustle, we need that committee filled?
Yeah, we did, we had it on Facebook and the town website, and every once in a while I'll refresh it.
Yeah, let's just keep trying.
We should do it again, because,
How many
you
do we
know,
need?
Together for-
3 at least?
I think we've always had 5,
Okay.
I think.
But 3 would be a start.
Start,
I mean, it's an odd number, so they can,
Yeah.
Just to get people involved, yeah, I'll put it out.
I mean, people, left and right complain about the cable.
I think
So,
people are,
Here's a chance to,
here's a chance. I mean, we never, it's not a level playing field, let's put it that way.
well,
no.
no,
You
never
know,
has,
but-
never has been.
No, and
You know.
and I can't even get Verizon to let me pay them through work. I'm not kidding. Like, I can't even get a payment on. I'm like, I want to pay you. They're like, no, sorry.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so, because when's the contract up? We got the notice from the state.
Soon. Sooner rather than, I remember it coming up before, it was maybe
Yeah.
next year. Because I feel like the notice was given 1 year in advance of the
Yeah,
contract
the notice-
expiring, and that was kind of what started the whole thing.
Yeah, we get the notice early enough, and there's not much, everything we asked for before we didn't get,
Yeah, that's why maybe people get
Oh, yeah.
discouraged. I do have one more old business.
Okay.
I know.
Well, I just want to say on the cable, though,
Yeah.
that, people complain, but people want other companies, which you're not gonna get.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's gonna come in and buy all the poles and infrastructure and stuff, so.
Not a competitive type of a
No,
market.
no. Okay, Mary, you're,
So where do we stand with negotiating with Southbridge on?
I just spoke to their town manager today. In fact, we had our first conversation. And I'm scheduling something in a week or two to sit down with him, and I need to get Heather in, but I want to speak with Heather first.
Nice.
She was off last week, and get a sense from her. I'm concerned about to what degree our capital burden would be with them. And if we're going to put capital investment in anywhere, I certainly would rather see it in Sturbridge than in a neighboring community. But he sort of in passing said something about, well, there's not much of an issue with capital. So I want to find out exactly what not much of an issue is and what my perspective on that is and what his perspective is on that. And we may be on the same page. But we have to go to at least a short term. I've got to get something done in the short term.
Right.
So even if and maybe it's 5 years is short term, because the reality is even if we build our own, it's going to be a couple of years. I mean, I would probably say 3 years is a likely reasonable, but we have to be careful because I think we can only, we're on year to year, which we're not really supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I think I have to do really at 3 years at minimum to
Yeah, that
to
makes sense.
legitimize this. So.
Okay, so
I
where
did speak with
things
him
are
today.
happening.
Yeah, as we speak today.
Nice.
okay, new business. Jamie?
No new business.
Mary?
No.
No new.
None. Correspondence, anybody? I did get an email from Klaus Hockfeld thanking the board for their, what do we call it?
Proclamation?
Proclamation. So,
And I just want to comment that I did attend, and that proclamation was so well done. And I asked who did it, and it was.
Michelle wrote most of it.
Robin, and
I
Mary.
straightened up
It was really, really well
Grandma.
written.
That's always gonna happen.
It was very, very well done, I thought.
Yeah, and it was a lovely event they had.
It was. And I made poor Mary and Jamie get up there with me.
You guys
Just in
have
case-
outfits because you matched, that's all.
We did, Jamie didn't.
They planned it with each other. I didn't. Radio silence on
If
this
you had
side
done,
of
if you
it.
had done black, you would have guaranteed you were all coordinated.
It wasn't intended, but we really
I
did have the same color.
I'll call the color tangerine top, and she had a tangerine
I look great in
dress.
tangerine. Everybody knows it.
That is your color.
And me with my mouth, I had to point it out to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciated that too.
Oh, you got a sense of humor. Okay, no other correspondence, and I don't see any citizens here, so we do have a request for an executive session.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, Mary?
Oh, okay. Got it, Andy? Okay. I'll make a motion pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21-2, to go into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
So declared.
And not to reconvene in open session.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Seconded.
Okay, Ian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
And I vote yes now. Is Bruce turned us off?